What's going on, everybody? It's WebsterStyle, Brian Sapph, here with another edition of the NRW Checkpoint. Brian, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Now, we have seen so far, I believe, 2 of the 4 Xbox former exclusive first-party titles have dropped on other systems, other platforms. This week,
Right.
we see the release of Hi-Fi Rush. And one of the things that has been sort of a prevailing narrative over the past year, especially with there's a real conversation when it came to Starfield, but the supposed Xbox tax, how reviewers were more harsh on Xbox exclusives than they were on PlayStation. And that's a lot of people debunked that. But after the release of Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush on the Switch, as Switch and PS5 and 4, as well as Hi-Fi Rush and PlayStation 5,
Right.
you have a game or games which on their original platform scored a certain score, but now score higher on competing platforms from these reviewers.
Right.
Which, especially with Pentiment, I believe Pentiment scored it was like an 86. I would think it was IGN. I'm not entirely sure where I sent it to you from, but it was a reputable gaming sort of outlet. And now on the Switch, it scored in the 90s, but it's the same game.
Right.
And now we see Hi-Fi Rush, where it is not indicative of the industry as a whole, but I believe I was watching and reading some things last night, Noisy Pixel, how the reviewer scored it a 9.5 and their original score was a 9. Again, not a big deal per se, but then also this individual in general stated that they never played through the original game, but the internet is forever. People went back and looked at their tweets, and they tweeted a year ago saying they played it on Steam, but asked for a refund, wasn't really feeling the music, but a year later is on PlayStation. It's a totally different tune, and it's the same game.
Right. This is interesting with stuff like that, because on one hand, I could be like, oh, okay, well, maybe it just plays different on these other consoles, and it I don't know, it feels better in comparison. But then on the other hand, like the case you just said with the guy who's like, oh, he asked for a refund on Steam, it sound more like you didn't give the game a chance the first time, and now that it's got a bunch of hype around it from being talked about so heavily over that past gaming awards season, now it's like, oh, let me run it back, and you actually find out you like the game, but now you're playing it on a different console that maybe you favor more because
exactly
console wars, and you giving it a rating after you've already said something different in the past. I don't see that being, well, I actually do. I see that being what it is. And I don't think that's necessarily fair towards these developers and these people who create these games. Because it's like the platform shouldn't matter. If there's a distinctive difference because of the platforms, like obviously we see oftentimes that PlayStation and Xbox games, they might be the same game on those two consoles, but that exact same game will be different on the Switch for obvious reasons, hardware limitations, stuff like that. I just don't feel like it's fair to be like, oh, well, I did it like it this time, and then now because it's on a system I prefer, it's a good game. Like that's kind of whack.
Yeah.
And it don't make sense because you ultimately saying that you're favoring another console over another just because of personal preference. How can I take you seriously as a reviewer, as somebody who's giving your critique and opinion on these games, hopefully to make me want to play them, if I know like, oh, okay, this is Xbox exclusive, he gonna trash this because he don't fuck with Xbox. Like it's weird. And it's something that I don't think a lot of influencers and these people who work for these places like IGN, I don't think they take that stuff into account, because it's like, we need to be able to trust you.
I'd agree. And I don't care so much from a random guy on Twitter, But when you are supposed to
Right.
be a journalist, a gaming journalist,
Right.
that's when I have issues when there's any sort of inherent bias. We talk all the time. I know your platform of choice is PS5 and PlayStation. My platform of choice is Xbox.
Right.
We have never talked about games in the context of a specific platform. We've talked about whether or not they're good or not and something we enjoy. And we can see the inherent merit in them. And one of the things that I've maybe I'm a bit down the rabbit hole with some of the content I watch, but even when I take a step back objectively, it just some of the journalists, and again, I'm not saying it's Xbox bias or whatnot, but there's a bias when they cover gaming, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. There is not generic down the middle sort of thing. There is very much a tribalism. And again, we all are human beings. We all have our inherent biases. But if I am looking at doing my best and I'm paid to look at something objectively, then that's the way it should happen. And we shouldn't have the same game that comes out a year later with no real addition, especially Pentiment. Pentiment on the Switch, no difference. On the PS4 or 5, I know that they have it running now at 60 frames per second. Again, it's Pentiment. You don't need Pentiment running 60 frames. But I understand giving it a bump in score for something like that on the PS5 because that had not been unlocked on the Xbox yet. I get that. That makes sense.
It does.
Hi-Fi Rush, nope. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Same game across the board.
But I just want to touch on that because that's just one of those things that like it had me going, this doesn't make any sense.
One other point I wanted to add before we move on. The only other reason, because you made a good point there where there was a performance difference. So you can see a little, 0.5 bump in score. I feel like the only other reason I could possibly give somebody who reviews games a fair, like, okay, I see why you feel like that, is for the fact that most of us are not going to play the same game on both systems to make the comparisons. So if it's like you have a PlayStation, that's what you review your games on or whatever, I could kind of see you being a little bit more biased towards PlayStation, but I don't think that should be like super apparent. I don't think that should be like the driving force or one of the main forces. You play on PlayStation, you don't have an Xbox, so you can't review the game on Xbox. That makes sense. But being like, oh, it's better than Xbox because I heard X, Y, and Z and I like PlayStation better, that don't make sense. Like, there should be some objectivity there. But
I agree. I think in this case, though, I think considering the games, you should definitely have a comparison of these games compared to what they're like on their originating platforms, because this isn't the typical multi-plat sort of strategy. These are formerly first-party titles that are now on competing platforms. I think you generally, if you want to have an honest review, and that's if you're reviewing it for the new platform, because realistically, we see it all the time. There's not a new review when the game comes out on PlayStation or whatnot, and then it comes out for Xbox like a month later or 2 months later. They don't do a whole new review for Xbox.
Exactly.
Or vice versa. Like that typically doesn't happen. But the fact that there are new reviews for these games, I don't think that it's fair unless you do a fair comparison, because then there's no sort of base level aspect of this game review of this game. That's just the way I feel about it.
I agree.
Speaking of that, first up this week is Hi-Fi Rush. We talked about it before when it dropped last year, but again, your wannabe rock star Chai and his ragtag team fight against an evil mega corporation in a world that syncs to music. And again, if you don't know what it is by now, you've been living under a rock. Check it out. Again, so your PS5 now, it's still on Game Pass if you got Game Pass, so check it out there. And PC.
I'm excited to get it.
It's a good game. There's only like $40 too, so
Yeah, I'm excited. I can finally play. Yeah.
Right. Next up, we have Lightyear Frontier on Xbox Series systems and PC and Game Pass. Lightyear Frontier is a peaceful open world farming adventure on a planet at the far edge of the galaxy. Climb into your versatile mech and start your new home on a distant planet with up to 3 friends as you farm alien crops, build your own homestead, and explore the untamed wilderness of the world. So farming in a mech suit sounds great to me.
It does. And I must say, the Xbox games that have come out this year specifically, it's got me looking at the platform a little different because I want to play Power. I want to play this game.
Right.
As one other Xbox game that's come out recently, I was like, oh, Hi-Fi Rush, but it's on PlayStation
Right.
5 now. But still,
Right.
I like what's going on.
Exactly. Next up, we have MLB The Show 24. It's on everything and Game Pass. Usual Players, Santa Monica Studio. Again, we talk about first-party games on other platforms. So there's a precedent there. MLB, Advanced Media, Sony Interactive. It's baseball, new baseball season. But this year, they also have the Road to the Show. Women paved the way. So they have storylines from women's baseball as well as they bring back the Negro League storylines.
Okay, I was about to
And
ask.
they include Buck Leonard, Josh Gibson, Hank Aaron, and Tony Stone at launch. And also there's a special career mode for Derek Jeter. So, you know, if you like Jeter, I'm an O's fan, so I will never, ever, ever root for the Yankees. But, you know, Jeter's still great. I'll give him that. Next up, we have the return of realistically, probably some say the first survival horror game, 3D survival horror, Alone in the Dark is on the PS5, Xbox Series systems, and PC. Alone in the Dark weaves a chilling tapestry of psychological horror and Southern Gothic charm, reimagining the iconic game that set the benchmark for the game. We invite you to join us on a journey of madness where each encounter could be your last. And this is David Harbour from Stranger Things and the ill-fated Hellboy reboot. He's the star of this one. I've seen mixed reviews today. They say things are great about the story, not so much for gameplay, but you know, I haven't played it, so I can't speak on it. I can only speak on what I've read so far.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Final Fantasy 16 is finally dropping on Xbox, so Xbox Series X, and that comes with all of the aforementioned DLC as well. So MMO, Final Fantasy. You can play up to 80 hours free, if I remember, or get up to level 80 free before you guys start paying them.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good deal. Next up, the PlayStation exclusive Horizon Hidden West drops on PC. So get that. And then we have Midnight Ghost Hunt on PC, a chaotic multiplayer hide and seek game. Possess a slightly harmless object as ghosts or chase them down as hunters before the clock strikes midnight. So it kind of sounds like that in the 4 versus 4 PvP game. So it kind of reminds me of that Ghostbusters game that came out a little while ago.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Then we have Dragon's Dogma 2 on the PS5, Xbox Series S, X, and PC.
Great things about this game.
Yes, exactly. Dragon's Dogma is a single-player, narrative-driven action RPG series that challenges a player to choose their own experience from the appearance of their horizon, their vocation, their party, and how to approach different situations and more. Now, in this longer-awaited sequel, the deep, explorable fantasy world of Dragon Dogma 2 awaits you. So, yeah, that's a lot of hype for this one. Dragon Dogma is one of those RPGs that it seemed to have garnered more and more popularity over the years. I think it's been like 6 years or so since the first one came out. So it's been a while.
Something like that, yeah.
And that's so it was on. And next up is a game that I believe you were waiting for, Brian. Princess Peach Showtime on the Switch.
I'm interested, definitely.
Yes. So in Princess Peach Showtime, the player controls Princess Peach and has the ability to interact with objects and characters with the help of a sentient ribbon named Stella. By standing on a circular platform, Peach gains special abilities to fit each play setting. So she can transform to Kung Fu Peach, Pastier Peach, Ninja Peach, Cowgirl Peach, Figure Skaters Peach, Dashing Thief Peach, Mermaid Peach, a whole bunch of peaches. And we ain't in Georgia.
Right.
And last this week is one of the I guess most highly touted PlayStation exclusive so far this year, Rise of the Ronin, another game from Team Ninja. Team Ninja has been on it this year. They did that other game that was on Xbox and is dropping on PlayStation that was on Game Pass. I forget what it's called. But Rise of the Ronin is an upcoming action role-playing game, basically Souls-like video game developed by Koei Tecmo's Team Ninja, published by Sony. It is set in the Edo in the mid-19th century and during, I'm going to butcher this, Kamumatsa, the final years of the Edo period. The game depicts the Boshin War between the Tokugawa shogunate and various anti-shogunate factors or factions displeased with the Western influence after the forced reopening of Japan following the Sakoku period. So, and our first trailer is Rise of the Ronin.
Let's do it.
As the old order crumbles, chaos begets the new. For some, revenge is sworn.
I feel like
They have endured.
Reminds me of that other game.
A sacred act in pursuit of a noble cause.
This is like a movie, like it's live action.
By
It does look like live action. It's some good CG.
what future
I mean, is it?
you forge?
It might be live action.
I think it's
Okay, that was the trailer. Oh, no gameplay. Yeah, I need to watch some gameplay in this because I haven't watched any since like the initial trailers, and some of the comments around the web of the past couple weeks have been the graphics look like PS4 graphics. You know, people got their panties in a bunch. Dude, just play the game. If it's good, if it's good, if it's not, it's not. All right. Next up, we have MLB The Show 24.
This is your captain speaking. We'd like to welcome you on board MLB The Show 24. Where gamers can play as their favorite baseball teams, create custom players, and even relive history with some of baseball's greatest legends. Now, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Can I play?
Craziest part is I grew up watching Vladimir Guerrero, and the fact that now as an adult, his son is playing. That makes you feel old. But,
well, listen, man. That means you had a good life.
yeah, I like that. I like that, Brian. Last but not least, Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy. Oh, that's going to X.
Warrior of light. Walk free and bear the light for others to follow.
This is 14. I'm like, what? Like, it is incredible how
until our
Final
last
Fantasy
breath.
14 has been going.
Forward, my friends, for freedom and justice!
Like,
No, you're not alone in this, don't you?
Darkness and light, despair and hope. As goeth one, so goeth the other. Become light, become hope.
finally coming to the box.
All right. So that's Final Fantasy. I think it says 16 before 14, but you're right, Brian. It's been going on for a long time. But what's going on with you this week, man?
I'm about to put an episode out, just kind of recapping where I am so far with my rewatch of the original X-Men series, so I could prepare for 97.
Today, baby.
Yeah. And then the next one, the next episode will be. I'm trying to decide because Kuya P was telling me that episodes are coming out weekly, so I'm trying to decide if I want to wait till the season's over to do like a full season review, or if I'm gonna just go episode by episode as they come. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm watching both of them tonight.
I want to. I'm excited for it, but I need to finish the first story first. So I'm gonna be focusing on that. Other than that, I don't really got much going on. What about you?
Okay, let's see. Dropping today, Time to Corner is my interview with the AZ porn star AZP, who developed an interesting course teach people how to get into the industry, which I think is really awesome. I'm dropping my reaction to the 2024-2025 men's winter fall menswear collection from Hermes. Also dropped Game Bites this week looking at the Star Wars Battlefront OG game. So it was Battlefront 2 from 2005 on the Xbox, since there have been so many issues with the collection. And there may be a podcast that I may be recording tonight after watching X-Men, as well as there'll probably be another Game Bites by the time the week is out, or the next couple days are out, looking at MLB The Show. But that's what's going on with us. You know where you are, nerds of the world. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at New Release Wednesday, on X, Twitter, whatever Elon wants to call it, at the NRW. And of course, you're on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe.